Maximize.
I think. Hold on. Are there any other additional public comments? Ariana?
Next week is a documented action week, and there's gonna be events every day except Tuesday, I think. Look out for the HIFAS Instagram page. There's all the links there.
Isaac.
So just be aware, some of you that didn't get your office hours really quickly. So, every practice and, yeah, good. But I think second week, like, different people are doing it. Can you speak louder? Do your office hours.
No, can you speak up?
Do your
We can't
office
hear
hours.
you. No, they still can't hear you.
So basically do your office hours. If some of you guys get the in the first week, so then you know.
Benjamin?
So we're still gonna be next Wednesday, we're gonna celebrate Philippines first of March. There's gonna be a bunch of high school kids on the world. We're gonna figure out so who that is out.
Matthew.
Vida is co-sponsoring an event next Tuesday, exploring the life of Juan Bautista Dianza, who is college named after. It's gonna be in conference room B from 9:30 to 11:20 a.m. There is a Zoom option, and more information is on the Vida website.
Ria.
Next week on Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. there's gonna be a business networking mixer. It's for anyone interested in the field of business, and there's gonna be free food and a bunch of games and prizes. So if you guys are interested in coming before the Senate meeting, it's next Wednesday.
Chris.
Vita is having their open house from 3 to 5 on Monday. And it's gonna be in collaboration with HEFAS as well. There's gonna be food, games, and a chance to meet all the interns.
Any additional public comments? Moving on to advisor announcements. Do you have anything?
Dennis isn't here today because he's out sick this whole week. Hopefully we'll be back next week. And we received the $200. $200, nothing. But President Holmes did match our DSAG funding for homecoming, so now we have 20 grand. He gave us 10,000 as well. So I think the word has been going out that getting out that we're really excited. So please mark November 17th and 18th on your calendar now, because we want everyone out there, especially all of you, to help and then to also participate. So again, more information to come, but we hope that we will be there and you can use that as part of your office hour, or not office hours, but field hours. So please mark that in your calendars now. That's it. Oh, one more. Please start using your FHDA or DASG emails. Those are your official work emails. That is how we're going to be communicating with you. That is how folks on your shared governance is going to be communicating with you. So if you are not checking that email on a daily basis, then you're losing out on those communications. That is what we're telling the shared governance chairs to also advertise on their websites, okay? So please make sure that is something you are doing regularly every day, checking those messages from your FHDA or DASG account.
Maritza, do you have any advisor announcements?
Sorry, are you on your public comments or advisor comments right now? Because the captions are not capturing what you're saying very well.
Yeah, we're currently under advisor announcements.
Okay. Yeah, it's still not doing a good job, or I'm not sure, but I mean, for me, I'm in the off. Yeah, thank you. I'm in the office getting some final things done for club day. I just asked DSG, make sure that you are ready to start setting up by 10 a.m. tomorrow. You are able to check out a tent from the club room, but it is your responsibility to set up and put it back to, maintain the privilege of using it. And just make sure that you have shifts for, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm sure Club Day will come up a bit more, but I just want to stress from the Office of College Life facility front, please make sure you're doing that. I do also want to know, Dennis and I had reached out asking for all DSG internal officers to send their emails to Dennis, right? Get the FHCA email set up. Very few of you did that. So Dennis had to go into dashboard and look up people's emails. So, if you can all, still reach out to Dennis to make sure that, that email is acceptable to be publicly posted, because that's what's going to be listed under your shared governance committees, things like that. But again, just if we can be mindful of, whenever we do ask for something, if you can please do that. That is adding extra work on our part to then go search in dashboard and then give those email addresses to the different campus shared governance groups. If you can please help us doing that. And also, if Hanju, if you already said this, I apologize. Again, the audio wasn't picking up very well. If you can be mindful of who you're reaching out for what, now that we're starting the year, if it's specific to your committee, you're reaching out to the chair of your committee and the advisors of your committee. If it's related to training, like fall training, you can reach out to me. If it's Senate, General Senate, you're reaching out to most likely Lydia and Isaac and maybe Dennis and Hyunju, right? So just be mindful of who to reach out for what now that the year is underway. I think that's it for me. So if there's anything specific to me, if you can put in the chat or something like that, but I'm going to be kind of focused on Club Day, but if anything's needed, let me know. Thank you.
Dana, do you have any additional?
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
Seeing no other advisor announcements, we'll be moving on to Senate announcements. Are there any senator announcements today? Asia.
As Maritza just said, Club Day is happening tomorrow, and we sent the spreadsheet to sign up for shifts. So please make sure to do that. We don't have. I think there's only 3 people or something who signed up in total. So please be sure to do that. We'll need help setting up, cleaning up, and then also having someone at the table throughout the.
Any other senator announcements? Javier?
Yeah, there's a Diwali event field hour opportunity on Wednesday, October 25th from 2:30 to 5:30. If you guys want to go, you can get some field hours. Yeah, let's go.
Any other? Ian?
I know flea market isn't really a committee anymore, but Jenna and I met yesterday and we are currently planning a mini flea market, which will, the tentative date is Tuesday, November 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So yeah, more info to come, but just thought I'd let you guys know.
Caitlin?
Marketing's been doing pretty well. We have access to our Instagram. We've been posting with ICC lately for Club Day.
Any other Senate announcements? Isa.
Finance is doing pretty okay, I guess. We're gonna get 100,000. Wait, we approved $100,000 going to special allocations. Waiting for that to go to Senate next week. That's about that.
Yeah, please include that in the internal DSG committee reports. But anyone else with a Senate announcement? I have a very quick Senate announcement. I just wanted to say, on behalf of Senate, with everything that's going on in the world, with the recent conflicts in Gaza, in Israel and Palestine, and also with the natural disasters in Morocco and Afghanistan, that on behalf of all of Senate, I wanted to say that Senate really wants to support the students that are personally affected by this. And if you have any concerns, and if you're personally impacted by this, or if you know other students are impacted by this, we really encourage you to reach out to the Mental Health and Wellness Center for any. But seeing no more Senate announcements, we'll be moving on to student trustee announcements.
No student trustee announcements for me today.
Moving on to shared governance reports. Jason.
Yeah, so the curriculum committee met on Thursday and Tuesday, so Thursday last week and on Thursday last week. The curriculum committee discussed how in the new system, so the other is moving to a new system called e-lumens for their courses. And their professors need to fill in like the majors for the courses, like the syllabus and all of that. And turns out there was a bit of different interpretations within all the professors. So curriculum committee was discussing on how to standardize it. And also for the naming of the course, right now some courses such as calculus 1A, 1B, 1C is named just calculus, which does not work in the new system. So they were discussing on how to change those. And then on Tuesday, curriculum committee met and conducted their first technical meeting of the quarter. And in there, they introduced how e-lumens work for people that are new to the committee, such as me and Isaac. And then the curriculum committee reviewed some basic course information, such as the courses units, hours, and the justification for its existence. And that's it.
Chris.
Technology committee met on October 5th. We discussed the new online catalog, which is easier to navigate. They reviewed the ISER growth section 3C and its updates. They reviewed the technology plan for 2021 to 2024. And they also discussed and they're also replacing the ticketing system for ETS.
Caitlin.
ETAC met this morning, and our goals for like this upcoming quarter is like, how can we improve printing on campus? Talking about possibly extending the Wi-Fi, general upgrading and replacing technology around campus, how to make applications more accessible. And we're trying to have more communication across the campuses so we don't repeat programs without people doing it.
Aaron.
So the college planning committee met on October 5th and we discussed the accreditation process. So Marissa and Mallory will be coming in a week or two to share the draft of their plan. And so basically we have like a feedback day for like November 3rd. So that's when they can get their feedback, right? To like change anything in the accreditation process. So when they come, they'll give us like an idea of what accreditation is and all of that. So yeah, we can make this based on videos. And then they also shared the belonging, civic capacity, basic needs, mental health data from spring 2023 and basic needs data from spring 2023. So yeah, we're just sharing on like how we've succeeded in 2 goals and failed in 2 goals. We have like 10 goals that we measure our success by. So,
Any other shared governance? Nico.
RAP met this Tuesday and we basically went over the committee member roles and responsibilities, updated timelines and dates. And the most important was the personal hiring prioritization and process, where last year we kind of didn't do it correctly. So now we're gonna ask all the people to resubmit their applications and we're gonna review it later on. After the application is due November 9th, and we're gonna review it next quarter.
Is that?
Just to add on to what Nico already said, for the personal hiring prioritization in the process. So basically it's kind of like their version of budget deliberations, like what we do, that they do at like the college level. And so essentially this fall, there were some items that were not I guess you could say like approved or like, yeah, I guess you could say like approved to be budgeted by the college. So those items are, one of those items, by the way, was also like funding for positions like Marissa's position of the student leadership coordinator. And so there are those items that were not approved. They can, the teams have the opportunity to essentially resubmit these applications, but and also any positions that are currently vacant right now. So if like the math teacher drops out all of a sudden and there's a vacant position, then that can also be submitted for request. However, just new positions can't be requested as of this moment. So for example, like we don't pay a mascot, we can't just like decide like, all right, we're gonna pay $50,000 for like a mascot position, you know what I mean? So that's what it means. And it has with unanimous, like, that's just the clear thing. So.
Any other shared governance reports? I have one from today. Isaac and I met with President Holmes for our bi-weekly meetings. And some things that were brought up is that De Anza is having a collaboration with the National Coalition Building Institute for Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Training that is coming up in fall, I believe. And they'll also be looking for some student reps from DASG. So we'll be having more information on that one in the future. And then some other things is that De Anza is communicating with Apple for ways to collaborate and engage on campus, which can include an Apple Innovation Lab, I think, in the ETS location. And we're also, De Anza also may be partnering with NASA Ames for internship opportunities. And the last thing is that something that Isaac and I brought up today, we talked about like accessible class scheduling. And another thing is concerns we've heard about sort of like the ratio of modality of classes, like having in person versus hybrid versus online. So that might be something that DHD can work on. So I would ask that everyone tomorrow will be able to engage with a lot of students in club day. If you all could maybe, when you're talking to them, ask about concerns they have on campus and maybe if they're worried or what they think of like different modalities of classes and like any concerns they might have. And we'll also potentially, if this is an issue that is like demonstrated by the student body, we can have more planning or next week agenda item on this. Are there any other shared governance reports?
Lydia, I had a question about NCBI. So are they coming here to do training or what exactly is their what was the conversation again about that? The National Coalition of Building Institutes.
He mentioned that I think they'll be doing a training at De Anza for, I believe, faculty, and also they have he wants some students to be up there as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was curious because I actually was a part of that organization for many years for the training, so.
Okay, moving on to internal DHG committee reports, executives. Executives. I'm so sorry.
I don't think there'll be, so, yeah.
Are there any other internal committee reports? Hannah?
Yeah, SRE met today and we discussed the resource fair that we are planning on 6th week. And we will be informing marketing and working with them for outreach. And then we also look towards the diversity and how we can work with equity office to do outreach for those. And then figure out a structure as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is there anything from marketing, finance, or ICC?
Yeah, our meeting says so. Yeah.
Finance or ICC?
Not much, I said my answer. Oh, ICC, we have a club day tomorrow, 11 to 1, in the Sunken Garden. Yeah, we met today and on Monday to review the.
So moving on to the consent calendar, can I get a motion to approve of the consent calendar?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I second.
I second. Okay, moved by Javier, seconded by Ariana. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, the consent calendar is approved. we'll be moving on to business item 1, which is the May through September 2023 DHD club checks of $500 or greater. Is Lisa on screen?
Let's go ahead and just go to the next one, and then let me go check and see if she's in her office.
Okay, so we'll be moving on to the second business item, which is the DHD goal setting.
Oh.
So if we cut off all the executives and any of the senators are interested in presenting about, we'll be doing a short presentation and also like some brainstorming then. You wanna start? You can't.
Okay, just present now.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so. Finance goals. Okay, so this is something that the finance committee has talked about. I think like kind of talked about a little bit during training, which is like the overarching goal of what we do. I guess like the idea is like we organize and distribute funds to enhance the student experience. I guess that's like one way to put it. Okay, and then we actually did our meeting on Monday. Yeah, this Monday. We just talked about like 4 big goals we kind of have. And I just kind of like worded it and kind of like generalized it a bit here. So the first one would be we're going to conduct the budget deliberation process in the most efficient way possible while also following our budget guiding principles. Which needs to get it through Senate later. Okay, but anyways. Increasing the accessibility of the finance committee, because like I know that I don't know, like historically finance is like more like kind of scary committee, like well numbers and spreadsheets and stuff. We're kind of like, okay. So we kind of want to make it like as accessible to people as possible. So that's something that we're trying to do through like committee projects. We're gonna add, this is just like this, recurring thing. I think you guys already know, advocate for the institutionalization of essential services for the college. And then increasing the revenue for DSG funds. So whether that's from the flea market or something that Lisa brought up, which is really good point, is like finding a way to somehow incentivize opting into the student rep fee, because that will be going down. With dropping enrollments and people just opting out. So that's also something to consider as well. So those are kind of the big 4 that we're trying to tackle. So, yeah.
Okay, moving on to SRE.
All right, so hi everyone. So SRE has a lot of things that we will be doing for the first time this year. So because it's again two committees that have merged. But one new thing that we are hoping to tackle is the diversity seats. So kind of figuring out a structure, because we don't really have that at the moment, and promoting it and then finalizing the details. And we hope to also, like I mentioned earlier, work with the equity office and to bring it over to campus alongside looking at statistics as well, because that's very important. And then a lot of the work that we have planned is towards outreach, because that's like the general goal of our committee of outreach and talking to people on campus specifically. So outreach to underrepresented groups, and through that we aim to promote diversity during elections, which will be happening in the winter quarter, right? For midterm. And then enlightenment, which is also basically outreach for and about resources, which we hope to do through a resource fair. And then advocating for undocumented students, which is basically what END was also working on last year. What we want to work towards this year as well.
Quick question for him. So I'm talking with someone earlier today and there had a quick question about the representatives like the PKS Capital and Vita, but they were asking, they're from FAPAC. So my question is there gonna be a representative, like a tenant seat for them? Or what's happening there?
So what we know as SRE is that a lot of the reps are like, for example, Vita reps, they are joining SRE at the moment because that's what they feel like most relates to their job role. And then they are kind of telling us what is going on with Vita through our committee meetings. So maybe them just like talking to us during committee meetings and then just joining our meeting if they're able to. And then we can kind of talk to like admin about how they will be placed into Senate, because I think that's, yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll be moving on to marketing.
Alright, so our goal as marketing is to increase our reach across campus to help our students. So few main goals that we're really prioritizing is accessibility and just more continued outreach with everyone on campus, not just like within our internals like we have done before. So one like big thing, how we're going to increase our promotion, especially for events, is that we're kind of reworking our marketing requests right now. Before it was like you would send in the event date and it'd be like, okay, please get this done, and it'll be a week before. But the issue is that if it's a week before, we should mark it a week before the event, not have the stuff ready like 2 days before. So we're just trying to make sure that everyone on campus knows about our events and how things to work.
Okay, so our main goal is to just engage with students more on campus and just create an active campus at the ENSA. And so two main goals that we have right now are collaborating with High School on the ENSA's homecoming, which is hopefully going to be a pretty big event for the quarter and just for the year. And then we're also just trying to work more on reaching out to students and figuring out what they actually want to see happen on campus. And it's not on here, but something else we're working on or in talks about is a movie night. So yeah.
On to administration.
So, yeah, we want to advocate and hopefully making the election process a bit better. If there's any concerns on the internal structure, about like specific roles that you feel like could be added, or there's some specific details of the role that you want to clarify, any feedbacks would be welcome. And just to recruit candidates for general election, hopefully we have higher voter interest, and maybe if we have time, look into how the election process is done, because I know there are like some feedback on how the election was run last year. So yeah, that.
So being trustee is different because I'm the only student representative on the board, and I do have to like do what's best for students, but also at the same time like wear the same hat that like also like I have to do what's best for the school as well. So essentially what I want to do as student trustee is best represent what people want, what the students want at the district, state, and nation levels, whether it be at the board of trustees or at conferences I go to whenever I travel. So one of these goals like is to like increase the communication between the board of trustees and DANZA. Like a couple weeks ago, or was it last week, right, that we had a Patrick come and talk about the medical center that's going to be built in parking lots A and B. That's one of those situations where we needed to have that bridge, right? So that was one of those situations that I wanted to like go work on, and like I want to do more of that in the future. I also want to work together with outside organizations to better current district issues. Like for example, the issue with Foothill School that's going to take away some fun from our Metro G projects, and then we also have like a district closet that we want to do so people can have more access to portable clothing. And also like I also want to work on some fundraising stuff so we can have more funds for our on-campus projects. But, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I don't have a slide, but I think ICC this year we're trying to level up
in our events and highlight inclusivity and diversity. One of our main goals this year is to have better club events on campus or just school events generally. We're trying to simplify the process and get more funding for our clubs so that we can host bigger events. Yeah.
Lastly, for executive advisory, Adrian?
Yeah, so I don't have a slide either, but I noticed none of the DS goals are up there, so after you're done speaking, can I have?
Yeah, of course. Okay, but for just as an overview of like all of DHG's priorities for this year and also sort of like all of our goals for executive advisory. Our priority for this year is to increase accessibility and communication in DHG. So this would be internally in Senate and also externally with college governance. So we have 4 goals that we're gonna work on, and the first one is to increase DHG's presence and outreach on campus with marketing and direct outreach. So sort of like Caitlin mentioned, and also Hannah, we've been working on emailing a lot of different programs and reaching out and sort of being connected to these communities on campus so that they feel like able to, it's accessible to join DSG and that they're welcome. And our second goal is to support opportunities for the student body by partnering and supporting student academic and career opportunities. So sort of what Isaac and I talked about with Lloyd today, like having these academic and career resources so that students, they can easily find these resources and that everyone has access to these to succeed. And our last 2 priorities, the third one is to represent student interest in shared governance. So we're really hoping to get like senators have more of an active voice in shared governance. And also hopefully we're hoping to get some external shared governance interns so that any student, not just a DHG student, not just a DHG senator, or maybe one of our interns can join as in shared governance, but really any student at the end. And finally, our last goal is to finalize and refine our structure. So it's easier for interns and senators to join, and they also have like better guidelines and the process is more accessible and easier for students to join. Would you like to talk about ES goals?
Okay, so for ES goals, we've got a couple of primary ones. First of all, we're trying to get we're planning for the starting at the beginning of winter quarter. We're going to have recycling and composting programs going on campus. It'll be launched in the cafeteria at the main pod. So currently I've been working very closely with ESAC to make that happen. So that's one of our main goals. Along with that, we're trying to get more like properly compostable stuff going in the like in the cafeteria, because what we have is already technically compostable, but only in like very specific facilities. So it's still ending up in a landfill and not really composting. So it's kind of really much. So we're working to try and change that. Maybe we're looking at bamboo as one of our options. And lastly, the other main goal is the wildflowers project, which we're hoping to get the seeds in the ground this winter quarter when the rainy season hits. So those would be the
All right, I just want to plug it in. We still don't have any senators on academic senate. They meet Monday 2:30 to 4:30. So if you're interested, text me, Discord, email, whatever. I'll definitely get you on there. So if you're interested, yeah.
I wanted to like take this time afterward to like talk about sort of all of your points, or if you have any questions on sort of our goals as executives, or maybe you have your own idea of what you want to do. If anyone has any questions or things to point out. Maybe Ian or Jenna, you could talk about sort of what you want to do for flea market this year.
I think as you mentioned, we met yesterday and we were mainly discussing the mini flea market. So our plans for arranging that in November. And we also have some ideas circulating about, for example, an art display and student photography of the flea market, so we can better promote it in the future.
Everything she said, mostly just more marketing and outreach, just so that more people are aware of the flea market. something that Dana is working on right now is. So right now for the flea market, we only use checks and money orders. Whereas I think like a local college, they just use credit card. And I mean, they accept everything, but they have credit cards as well, and so. Their process is a lot easier. We're trying to work on that part to get that part done. But the thing is, our flea market is a lot bigger. I think we got about 300 something vendors. In this last market, I think Olonia only has like 60. Data mentioned, and yeah, so that's one part that Jenna mentioned. Trying to get more students involved with the flea market, like the art display, more performances. I know MBA performed last market, received their markup, kind of popping on that. And yeah, to see if we can just continue to expand the market, bring in more money. Yeah.
Also, thank you, Adrian, for coming up and sharing about your ES goals. But is there anything else that anyone wanted to mention or questions you might have? Okay, seeing that there aren't any questions, we can move on to the next business item. So we'll be going back to this business item, which is the May through September DASG income checks of 500 and greater. Lisa, could you present this?
Okay, hello, sorry, I was driving and I couldn't get the connection. So I'm Lisa Kirk, and I just present the list of checks to the Senate that we processed that were $500 or greater. So this list is from May through September. And it just shows you the date the check was processed, the check number, who the check was payable to, the amount, the account, and then the last column is the fund / account project number. So only funds 41 and 46 are DSG funds. If it starts with a 44, those are club monies. And then we have all the reports available on our website. If you want to see additional information, there's detailed reports on the website that you can review. Are there any questions on any of the checks that are on the list?
Ume.
Lydia, I think it's not visible.
Which part? Okay, also find this. Huh?
You can click on the plus sign, you can see one up there and you can make it. You can't see it, is that the problem?
I was gonna say, if you can't see it too, if you go to the agenda on the Dianza website, it's also there as well. That's where I'm viewing it.
Are there any?
If anyone has any questions later on, you can always email us. Down below at the bottom of this spreadsheet, there's our email, dastudentaccounts@fhda.edu, and we can answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so I'll see you probably then in a few months again with the list for October through likely December. Okay.
You, Lisa.
All right, thank you.
So we'll now be moving on to the third business item, which is the DASG Student Leader Scholarship Code changes.
Can you pull up that? So last week was information, so this week we need to take a vote, if you're all good with how it's worded, and can you just scroll down? Yeah. So again, these are the changes that we made, in the red and the green. The two biggest things that it was more of an oversight is we didn't list the office hours and your field hours. And then there was one more, I think, so further down. And this section, which was just the wording was a bit awkward, so we just wanted to clarify. So they will be submitted by 4 p.m. The 10th Friday, and we'll give you the exact date to that. So again, this is for the compensation that DSAG elected reps will receive at the end of each quarter, and this is how we're going to evaluate your performance. Once this is passed, we will then work with Isaac and develop a rubric. So it's broken down so that you'll have a clearer picture of how much weight we're going to put next to all these different responsibilities. Okay. So we just need a motion to pass this.
So,
Any questions?
Yeah, I think we'll-
Yeah.
I move to motion, I motion to amend the DASG student leadership scholarship. Coaching.
I second.
moved by Isaac, seconded by Javier. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, the DHC student leader scholarship code change is passed. We'll be moving on to the next business item, which is the DHC programs code revisions. This is the first reading of the new DHC programs code, which is a merging of the programs and events and about the sustainability.
Okay, so pretty much, I think everyone knows that last year ES, environmental sustainability and programs and events were combined into just the programs committee. So this is our new code reflecting that. So just name change. So this is Article 1, Section 1 membership, just reflects the new changes, the different senator positions we have. Objective is, yeah, I'll just like leave it up for a little bit. I don't think I need to read every single one, but if you have any questions about anything or want to make a comment, then feel free to.
So actually, question. So I don't know, this is something for the advisors as well, but would I be able to make like a larger change, like changing for the ES cohort instead of 1, adding parentheses 2 and adding a second cohort? Is that something I'd be able to do now, or is that something I have to meet with? That's something I would like to accomplish here if possible.
You want to amend it? This is the information item today, or is this for action?
I think it's information discussion.
Okay, but yeah, you can be part of the discussion.
Okay. Yeah, so can we discuss that now or at a different time?
Maybe we can go through it once and then people can just like save comments or questions or discussion, and then we can just, once we finish looking through it, talk about. Moving on to the committee duties and responsibilities. And then moving on to Article 2, which is officers. Again, most of it just reflects the additions from the environmental sustainability codes, and then also just changes to the officers. And then that's pretty much it. So I guess we can talk about what Adrian was mentioning about the ES coordinator, and if anyone else has anything, feel free to share.
So we want to add a second one? Yeah, that's what I would like to suggest, that we add a second ES cohort, because last year this was an entire committee. Like an entire committee, and this year it's been cut to 1 single senator put into the programs. And if you like notice today, I didn't even have a slide to mention my ES goals. I feel like in general ES is kind of being like overlooked and pushed to the back because it's not a committee anymore. And I think having a second senator would make it more of a team and closer to a committee at least, especially because there's a lot of responsibilities to manage as ES board, including the bike program management, which I've been working with the people at OCL to make that happen, as well as like all of the eco fund things and every other environmental sustainability related like thing on campus. I just think it would be a good idea to add a second position for that if that's possible.
Actually, Mandu, is that like something we could look into, like having another position?
So you're talking about not adding another position, but are you suggesting that we go back to kind of the old way and have the ES senator be its own set, kind of overseeing their own committee and that
Maybe.
it's not under, program?
I mean, they are like things like the bike program and the eco fund are technically programs. So I think it could be simpler if we just add a second and then it becomes a subcommittee in the programs committee. But as it is, it's just like one single person for what used to be an entire committee. And I feel like that's not good for productivity or the end, environmental sustainability in the long term.
So remember, our new structure is a pilot program, so if it's not working, then yes, absolutely, we need to have some good conversations about what maybe pieces that we blended or merged last year, to review and possibly suggest another structure moving forward, so yeah.
Is that something like we can talk about now? Because this is about the code, or is it maybe for another item?
It would probably be for another item, I think.
So it could be like just making the edit on the face, yeah, it says DSG events coordinator too. It would just be like adding parentheses two. Or environment and sustainability coordinator.
Yeah, that would sort of be a structural change. It's not just like reflected in the code, but something we will have to work on, and like adding another senator position in the entire structure and bylaws, and like also getting the scholarship for that.
Yeah, exactly. Because administration, like, we might look, if there are issues, we might look into like potential structure changes for the next year. But we can't just say like two, because like we have scholarship monies and everything allocated. And the Senate has to expand too, so. You can't just add it.
That could be a future.
But it can be a future thing.
Future agenda item.
Yeah, so
Really good.
hopefully we can talk about like adding another position like in the future. But it's not really related to this item because we can edit the code like if we do decide to add it afterwards. So
why don't we take questions? I see several hands up.
Are there like sort of any questions sort of related to this item first?
So, on the topic of ES kind of having its own either subcommittee or having a second coordinator. If that's not possible at this time, can we like maybe try to have someone within programs, like an officer or senator who could work as interim second coordinator, maybe? Like not officially, but someone who could help out and do the work, because I guess I kind of echo Adrian's feelings as well about ES kind of being its own committee last year, and it is technically a part of the programs, but it's a huge sort of thing, so that probably needs a lot of attention.
Yeah, to answer that, I mean, since it's only like the second week, also we still have to see, right, like what exactly is, like maybe in the end of it all, like ES is getting like forgotten, hopefully not, of course, but like if it does get forgotten, then we'll know like, okay, for sure, we need to bring back ES's own committee or like ES's own subcommittee kind of thing. But I think for now, like me and Christopher can make sure that it within programs, whether it's like interns or like us too, that ES is supported. And yeah, I mean, we have a lot of interns, right, in programs, like we saw at our meeting, there was like a great amount of people. And so I think we can definitely also count on our interns to be, active as well. Yeah, we can just do like a couple more questions or comments. Ria?
I was just thinking of going to that, if it's gonna be like a big change to just add the potential senator position, maybe we can talk about it more in the program, so we can just add like an intern position, kind of how like marketing, I think they had PR and editor officers, that way we don't have to do like a big structural change, but it'll be a different position. I think that's more we can talk about in conversation.
Frenchie.
It's just, yeah, I just had a quick question for Isaac, actually. So I just wanted to like ask like what the dynamic is, because I know administration has a subcommittee, which is technically its own committee, which is elections, right? So sorry, so you just finish it. So my question is like, could you like expand on like, so elections is its own committee, but there's flea market, which is like their own like liaison position, plus there's also yeah, so it's its own like kind of thing. So could you just like explain like each one of them, like the
So,
differences?
For administration, we have an elections committee, but we don't meet unless there is some concern coming up for if like your candidate was like, we disagree with the results, then elections would have to meet and talk about that. But it's not like a regular committee with regular time. As for flea market, I know that Ian is thinking about maybe for last year, you were thinking about having a different meeting time for flea market, specifically for the flea market.
Well, right now, Jenna, Dana, and I kind of have like Tuesdays 2 to 4 p.m. blocked out. We may do it every other week. Right now, we're just going on like a week basis. So we need to meet the week, so similar to electric, otherwise. We do the
Yeah, and under the new structure, the interns are not based on like a specific. Well, you can say it's based on a specific committee, but more specifically based on a specific senator role. So interns would be, for administration, it would be under Ume, who's the legislative liaison. Or in finance, it would be under budget analyst, or say flea market coordinator.
So yeah, just to follow up on that, so you're saying that there would be an intern with this, so like, let's say they have the 3 to 4 p.m. flea market, would there be interns in the flea market under the flea market liaison who would attend that unofficial meeting? That's my question.
I think the committee itself.
I think something too, because I mean, obviously we're talking about like the environmental sustainability coordinator position right now, if we're like needing to expand it. I think kind of like similar with generally how programs is. Something I noticed last year was that in environmental sustainability, it was kind of like, of course, like always kind of like a thought that, okay, we need to make sure what DSG is doing is like sustainable, right? We're not like hurting the environment if we have an event, that kind of thing. But I don't think there was like so much of like, for example, where flea market they have it every month, right? So they need to have us like liaison, a subcommittee, because it's something that's reoccurring. But I think with environmental sustainability, it's more like how it is with programs where there's like times where it's like really you need the committee to like focus on it, but it's not like not every single thing involved with it is like recurring, if that makes sense. It's like if there was like an initiative, say like something we talked about last year too was like plastic cups and like utensils being used in the cafeteria. That would be like a project that environmental sustainability would do, but it's also the same as if there was an event on campus. It'd be something that's within the committee, but also talked about separately. So yeah, that's just a comment I wanted to make.
Also, we're kind of out of time, so if anyone wants to like continue this conversation, if someone can make a motion to extend discussion, or else we are going to be out of time for this.
Or is anyone interested in continuing the discussion?
I need to extend the discussion by 1 minute. Have like just a quick comment.
Okay, moved by Adrian, seconded by Javier. Are there any
So I would
objections?
just like to say that there are several projects that are ongoing at this point, that are being met with like fairly regularly to make happen, like the recycling project that we're trying to get going. I'm meeting like minimum every 2 weeks with PSAC at this point. We're forming subcommittees there. And I feel like there are a lot of different groups, like environmental groups on campus that I'm having to juggle and wear a lot of hats on my own. And it is something that should be talked about every week, because at this point, if it wasn't for like DASG and that group, I would not be able to move forward on a lot of these projects. I'm requiring like help from a lot of outside of DSG organizations to make the DSG goals happen. And I think unless further, like the cohort for next year continues to be connected with other groups in that same way and continues to be like a seed intern as I am, then the productivity will just drop. That's just my other comment.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, but I think maybe since we still would need to like talk about it more in programs, we can also like bring this up as like a discussion item for our meeting. Because I feel like that's where we would be able to like mainly talk about it, because right now, obviously, even if we're talking about it, there's not gonna be something that we can like at this moment, like present to Senate and be like, we're gonna change this, that kind of thing. So maybe I'll add it as an agenda item for our programs meeting. And then also if anyone's interested in like being part of that discussion, we can continue it there, because I also don't want to like take up too much time. Yeah,
thank you.
Isaac.
I just wanna like recognize Adrian. I know that there have been a lot of emails about like e-bikes and like the foundation or like the donors are like, oh, so how's this? And it's feeling like there's a lot of work that Adrian has to do.
E-bikes program. Thankfully, I've been having help with like the Office of College Life with that.
Yeah, so I just want to recognize Adrian for their fantastic work. So yeah.
I guess, was there anything else to talk about like right before? I guess.
Okay, yeah. So seeing that there are no more questions, we'll be moving on. That's actually our last business item, so we'll be moving on to public comments. Are there any public comments today? Adrian.
I have a quick one, it's just mentioned, so it's like tentatively planned for the Thursday, October 26th. There's gonna be a BTA event where, speakers from BTA are going to be coming to, I think, conference room A from 3 to 4:30 to be speaking about BTA and what the school can do about that. So, yeah, that should be finalized by Monday, but right now it's like soft, Thursday, the 26th.
Any other public comments? Okay, moving on to advisor announcements. Are there any advisor announcements?
Yes, there's a week of best events coming up next week, so please check out their website. They have a variety of different events. Also, no one expressed any interest in replacing Darren for the Seesaw Leadership Conference, which is coming up at the end of this month. If any of you are free the weekend of October 27th, 28th, 29th, so from Friday afternoon through Sunday afternoon, it's already paid for. We have a hotel, we've got 9 other students, Dennis is going to be the chaperone. I need to know like today, like after this meeting, otherwise it's a wash and we just lose that position. We were told that they are at capacity. That means there's gonna be thousands of students there, so it's really, really exciting. All over California, community colleges, and there'll be workshops all day. You'll have opportunities to network. It's a really great conference, and one of my dear friends is going to be the keynote for Saturday, President Charles Sokaki from Ohlone. So if you're free, you've got nothing else to do, don't you want to hang out with 9 other of your colleagues here on DSAG and ICC, and you'll get fed, you got a hotel room, we'll figure out transportation. So anybody like right now, you're like, me, raise your hand, because then I will follow up with you. Yes, yeah, okay. Yes, all right. If there's nobody else, I'm gonna connect you to Dennis, and Dennis will get you all connected, okay? And for those who, raise your hand if you're going. Raise your hand if you're going. Yay, okay. If Dennis hasn't already, share this with you. The Wednesday of the week we're leaving, so that's October 25th. At 3 o'clock, we're doing an orientation in this room, okay? So please mark your calendars. If you can't be there at that time, we'll follow up with you later, but please show up because you have to sign the waiver form and we've got some other logistical things we have to take care of before you actually go to the conference. So, yes, yeah, okay, all right, that's it.
Are there any other advisor announcements?
I just want to say that I appreciate Adrian and everybody else that is looking at the reorganization. As Hanshu said, it is a pilot program and it's a great opportunity for us to really see how we can best organize everything. And Adrian, I really appreciate you bringing this to our attention and look forward to the next programs meeting.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other advisor announcements?
Just to add on with what Hanji was talking about for the conference, I'll be hunting down the folks that are that had signed up for the forms, because those should be done before the orientation actually. So within the next week, I'll be looking out for all of you, hopefully before Senate, but if not, then I'll definitely stop by Senate to just get those forms signed by you. I think that's it. And then, yeah, I look forward to seeing you all at Club Day.
Thank you. Are there any other advisor announcements? We'll be moving on to Senate announcements. Are there any Senate announcements? One more thing, please put all your shared governance reports in the Discord internal shared governance reports if you haven't already, because we'll need that we can use that for the minutes and also to keep track for your attendance for shared governance. And also, there's executive advisory today right after Senate, so please stay. Are there any student trustee announcements?
Well, first I'd like to say thank you so much to Adrian for announcing that thing about the BTA. I can't emphasize enough, if you are taking classes at Foothill or you're are having some sort of activities there and you want a voice about easier transportation between the two campuses, I cannot emphasize enough. Please go to that meeting. We need the school to see how many students are doing activities at both campuses.
Okay, so we don't have a mascot yet, but we are looking to hire somebody, but we need a mascot for homecoming. So if any of you can. Okay, you, okay. We need a handler and we need the mascot. So Isaac, if you're interested. And it'll be only just for the tailgate, not for the dance. We haven't yet figured it out, so but at least I'm thinking $25 an hour at least, so make it worthwhile. Yeah, and then you would switch so you're not in the costume the whole time. So last time, what did we have? Was it Brandon? That's right. We had Brandon and then they switched. So okay, so yeah. Yeah, okay, I will connect with both of you at a later time, but okay, we got our mascots for home. Please don't share who they are, okay? It's supposed to be an office.
Okay, moving on to introduction and approval of prospective senators. We don't have any open spots right now, but if you're interested in running for a diversity seat, SRE is still in the process of sort of figuring out the guidelines, but you can put down your attendance for this. So if there's anyone interested in running specifically for a diversity seat, if you could you come up and. You can do Are there any other people interested in running for diversity? If not, I will be adjourning this meeting at 5:09 p.m.
When are we starting executive advisory?
Huh?
When are we starting executive advisory?
I can wait in
5 minutes. So we can get out of here, y'all.